Hello, today we're going to be making devil crabs. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the devil crab. It was developed in the 1920s in an area in Tampa, Florida called Ybor City. And Ybor City was built on a lot of immigrants, primarily were Spanish, Cuban, and Italians. And in the 1920s, the cigar factories went on strike, so they had to develop some way to feed their families, and since blue crab were very plentiful in the area at the time, they went crabbing. And they sold crabs, and they also developed this recipe, and they sold them on street corners for a nickel. And today they still make devil crabs, and as far as I know, this is the only area that you can get them. It's in Tampa, Florida. So today we're going to be making it. So this, to make devil crabs, takes planning because it's a lot of work, but they're really worth it. Okay, what I've got here is, I've got 1.5 loaves of French bread because I cannot get Cuban bread. Now we want it to be stale. And I've cubed it all up toward apart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add water to this. So we want this to have enough water to cover your bread. And then we're going to let this soak for 1/2 an hour before we make up our dough. Okay, while our bread's soaking, I'm going to go ahead and start making the sauce. And what I've got here is just enough olive oil to saute our vegetables. And we want our vegetables to saute. We don't want them to caramelize. And I've got here 2 large green peppers. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make a double portion of sauce, and I'm going to freeze half of it because I got a really good deal on the blue crab, and it's usually very expensive, and I got it for very inexpensively. That's the reason I'm making this, because I'm on a budget too, like everybody else. Okay, and we're going to go ahead. I've got 2 chopped onions, and we'll go ahead and add that to our olive oil. And we're going to let this saute slowly until the onions are transparent. Our onions are transparent, so now I'm going to add 5 cloves of minced fresh garlic. And what we're going to do is we're going to saute this until the garlic gets soft. And we don't want any caramelization, so it's going to be a slow process. Okay, now it's ready to add our other ingredients, and it took about 5 minutes for the garlic to get ready. So now I'm going to add, this is 1 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. And I've got 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now this is to your taste, but I've got 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to add that. I've got 2 teaspoons of sugar. Two bay leaves. I'm going to put 2 pinches of nutmeg. Stir that all together. Okay, now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of hot sauce and 2, and I've got 2 teaspoons of parsley, that, and now I've got about 2 ounces of burgundy, and add that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to simmer this all together for about 1/2 an hour. Okay, our dough is ready to be prepared. So what I've done is I drained it and I squeezed the excess water out. And what we're going to add to that is 1 teaspoon of paprika and 1 teaspoon of salt. And now I've got 1 can of just plain breadcrumbs. And so we're going to add this whole can here, and with your hands You're going to just keep on squishing it together until you get all this incorporated in. And then what you're going to do after you get all this incorporated in is we're going to put a lid on it and we're going to put it in the refrigerator for several hours, preferably overnight, but at least 4 hours. Okay, now what I've got here is 2 pounds of blue crab claw meat, pasteurized. And I'm going to go ahead and add it to our sauce, and we're going to have to let that cook for about 10 to 15 more minutes. Then we're going to cool it down to room temperature, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. And it also has to sit in your refrigerator for several hours. This is not a fast recipe. And also what I did to the crab meat was I also kind of shredded it because it comes out looking like little claws. And you're going to have to look through it and pick through it and see if it's got any shell or cartilage. I didn't find any in this. And so we're going to let this all simmer on the stove. Now I might have to add just a little bit more water to this. And it looks like I might. Okay, I just add a little bit more water. And we're just going to let this simmer together about 10 to 15 minutes. Then I'm going to turn it off, let it cool down, and put it in our refrigerator. Okay, we're getting ready to make our double crabs now. Now this is the hard part. Okay, what I've got here is 4 eggs, salt and pepper, a couple of tablespoons of water. And we beat it all up. Okay, right here I've got 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. Now we're going to get ready to go. I've got some water here just in case I need to wipe my hands. This is something that takes a lot of practice. I'm not really good at this, but they do taste good. So it might not be the prettiest thing. Get a little bit more. Okay, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to make this out, flatten it out, fill it with crab meat. And they're not going to be all the same size either, because this is tedious. And that's why once they sold them all, they didn't make any more. Hey, let's see. Oops, going to break. Add a little crab meat. Add a little more crab meat. It doesn't matter. It's going to ooze a little bit on the side. That's okay, because what we're going to do here, you're going to dip it in your egg. Be really careful with it. Go here, roll it in the breadcrumb flours mixture. And just keep going with it. Trying to shape it here. Just roll it some more. There you go. They're not the perfect things, but I don't do this every day. And after you make all of these, you're going to have to wrap them up in saran wrap over the top, put them back in the refrigerator for an hour or 2 before you can even fry them. Okay, this is our friend and neighbor Dave, who every now and then drops by for dinner. And so Dave's going to try this double crabs. He's never had one before, so he's going to be our guinea pig for the day.
Now?
Now, go ahead and try it.
That is really good. Oh my goodness. You made this?
Yep.
It is really good.
Alright, I hope you enjoy these double crabs. Thank you and come again.